Hello and welcome back to the Full 10 Yards Betting Podcast. I'm Liam, your host, and as always, I'm joined by my friend and your friend, the man who's supposed to win you loads of money. That is, of course, Adam, aka Mr. Touchdown Tips. How are we doing, mate? After a more entertaining week in the NFL last week, I think.
Yeah, same. We had a week off doing the podcast. Obviously, things got in the way, but we had a successful week. I put out the tips on Twitter, and we got 8 out of 12. So always nice. 3 out of 4 for me and Tim, and 2 and 2 for yourself. So it was nice having a profitable week for us, and an exciting week. Obviously, very good one for the favourites last week. I think they were 11-3 against the spread. So I doubt that'll happen again, but it was nice when it does.
Yeah, 2 relatively good weeks against the spread for the favourites the last 2 weeks compared to how the season started. I'm sure people have won more ACCAs probably in the last 2 weeks than they've won throughout the first few weeks of the season for sure, which is good. And more points as well. So I think overs the last 2 weeks are doing a lot better than they've been doing the weeks before. Doesn't mean we're all going to pick overs, but at least now, every time you pick an over, you're not just worried like, this game's going to be about 28 points. So, we'll see how this week looks, but at least the overs are starting to come in a little bit more. We'll see if we can go 8 out of 12 again or better this week. And if we don't, then we know us recording the podcast makes our picks worse, which is a worry. But we'll see how we get on, and we'll start where we always start, which is the game of the week. And we've avoided London, which I think would have been 3 weeks in a row. Maybe partly because of my bias, maybe partly because the game sucks. We've gone for a Super Bowl rematch. We've gone for the two teams at the top of the betting for the Super Bowl as well, currently as we stand, which is the Chiefs and the 49ers in San Francisco as well. The line is, or before when I last looked, is San Francisco -1.5. The under-over is 47 or 47.5, depending on where you look. Before we get to picks and stuff, what are your general thoughts on this game? Obviously, injuries have kind of affected how it looked compared to we thought before the season, but still quite an exciting game on paper.
On paper, yeah, I'm not entirely sure it will be. I think it's going to be a defensive game. I've said for last 20 odd weeks now, the Chiefs are a defensive first team, and the 49ers are capable of putting up points, but it's a tough one to call because I believe the 49ers got a better team, but they don't have the better quarterback, and that's been their kind of Achilles heel. Obviously, Purdy's done a decent job, but he's not Mahomes. There's a reason he was picked 7th round. He's done very well. I can't argue with how well he's done, but he's not a game changer. He will not be able to get things over the line when he needs, and that seems to be the thing that kind of kills the 49ers. So I think it's going to be very interesting. I think the spread's about right. It has the Chiefs as 2 points better on a neutral, which I guess is about right. If the Chiefs are fully fit, they'd probably be 3. Which I think again is probably about fair. It's going to be a tight game, quite an interesting one, and it'll be interesting to see how the Chiefs do. Obviously, off a bye week, we know that Andy Reid is ridiculous off a bye week, so that's going to be baked into the handicap as well, I'd imagine. So I think I've got to lean to the Chiefs, but I'd rather the 49ers win, but I'm not an idiot. I think I've got to lean to the Chiefs winning a close one.
Yeah, 49ers getting a bit of rest as well, aren't they? Because they're coming off Thursday night against the Seahawks. So the two teams have got a lot of injuries, but they should be as healthy as this set of players are going to be when it comes to the season. So yeah, I'm with you. I think it'll be a close game as well. 49ers will probably have a couple of good drives. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Jordan Mason. He's injured at the moment. Will he play? Will he not? Again, kind of everyone looks good in the Kyle Shanahan running scheme, but you don't want to be down to your third choice running back. That's not going to look as good as CMC or Jordan Mason. There's a reason Mason takes all the carries and Guerrero only plays when he's injured. So I'd be interested to see if he plays, because I think that could make their offense a bit more dangerous than if he doesn't. But yeah, I'm obviously excited for this game, but after 2 quarters in, I'll probably be dreading the rest of the game, and then the Chiefs will win at the end by a point or something. That seems to be how my Sundays end up going. Let's go on to best bets, and you want to give us yours first?
Yeah, as I say, me and Tim have both gone the same way on this. We've both gone unders. Tim's gone under 48, which is at 4-5. Under 47 seems to be the line around at the moment. Although I looked on Sky Bet and it was under 46.5. so it looks like it's on its way down. So
Yeah.
if that obviously get on as soon as possible. As I say, the Chiefs are a defense first team. They're lacking on offense at the moment. Obviously, Worthy and Kelsey will be able to move the ball, but it's just they're not typically finishing drives as they should be, or as they generally would. I think Mahomes' red zone conversion is way down this year, and obviously it's the lack of weapons. It's not particularly his fault as much, but it's definitely something noticeable. The 49ers, they've been weird this year. They've been putting up a lot of points, but then conceding a lot and letting teams back in. In this one, I think there's a chance that they'll go a bit more defensive and try and keep things a little bit tighter, try and restrict the amount of drives the opponents get. Obviously, Jordan Mason being in would help that. But either way, I think it's going to be a fairly low scoring game. I did do this when it was Bengals Chiefs and it went over by 3 points. So I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up around 50, but I am going under 47.
I was going to say, what's the game scenario where you lose this bet? Is it maybe 49ers jump out to a big lead and then Chiefs kind of have to pass it and you just get Mahomes going crazy? Or is it turnovers? Like what loses you?
I don't think Mahomes can go crazy anymore with the players you've got. That's the problem. So I think if anything, maybe. I guess I think it's probably more the 49ers jump out to a lead and then Shanahan likes being Shanahan, as Callum will tell us every time he gets on WhatsApp. He likes Shanahan throwing away games, and I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers get out to a 14-point lead and then sit back. And then that's what will kill me is the Chiefs coming back from that because, as I said, it's still Patrick Mahomes. So he can still get it done when he needs. It's just that generally he doesn't need to anymore.
Yeah, I would lean the under as well, to be honest. Even the 49ers defense is actually, they've not been great against the run, which is I do think where the Chiefs will probably try and capitalize, but they've been pretty good. Fred Warner looks insane, as he always does, linebacker. Yeah. So, I think against the pass, they're going to have Kelsey relatively well covered. But there'll be a couple of big plays, there always is, from Mahomes Reed, but that'll be about it. I think it'll be a lot on the ground for both these two teams. I've gone for Chiefs plus 1.5. Again, if this changes to the other way, which I don't think it has, because it's been this line all week now, and it's kind of gone from like 2 to 1, 1 to 2, but it hasn't kind of crushed through 0. So, I just think the opportunity. Mahomes' stats are crazy as an underdog. I forgot to write them down actually, but I think he's only lost against the spread. He's only had like one where he hasn't covered, where he's been in a less than a 4-point underdog. That's kind of just those close games, big teams. Normally they're on the road as well when the Chiefs are underdogs. He kind of thrives in those situations. So I do think I agree with you. It's a close game, but I'll pick the Chiefs. Although this is a game they can definitely lose if the 49ers do jump up to a good lead with their more high-powered offense. But I'll go for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Mahomes 10-3 straight up as an underdog of any number.
Yeah.
Which, as I say, isn't exactly surprising, really.
No, and he's only not covered once when it's been under 4. So he's been a very reliable person to bet on when he comes to these sort of spreads.
He's the best with everything.
See, I like it when you say that. It makes me feel better as you first. So to summarise, then I've gone for Chiefs plus 1.5. Adam's gone for under 47 points, which I think is what is that evens?
10 to 11ish, and then Tim's gone the extra little bit of safety.
Yeah, he's gone under 48 for that extra little bit of safety. So we'll see. It'd be quite funny if it lands on 47 now. That'd be very Tim.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
It'd be very Tim if it did. Cool. Let's move on then and talk about some spreads. To be honest, there's actually some good spreads across the board, I think, this week. Anyone watch on YouTube, they're along the ticker at the bottom there. And why don't we go through Tim's first for his best bet, because he's talking about your team. And again, we asked him for reasoning today, and he decided to ignore us. We've got no reasoning, so we're going to have to use our brain to work out what he's thinking. So he's picked the Bengals minus 5.5. So I'm going to pass to you. Why has he picked the Bengals?
It's obvious what he's thinking. He's thinking the Browns are absolutely terrible, which they are, which I fully agree with. But he probably doesn't know that the Bengals haven't beaten the Browns since 2017, and that Joe Burrow has yet to beat the Browns. It may be just in Cleveland. I'm not sure on that entirely, but either way, it's 6 or 7 years without beating them in Cleveland at least. And Joe Burrow has yet to beat the Browns in any game, so it's definitely not what I'm going for. Again, it should happen. The Bengals are by far the better team. Obviously, the Browns traded away Amari Cooper this week, so they've lost that weapon, and he normally has a good game against the Bengals. Nick Chubb should be back. I believe he's meant to be playing this week, but obviously, first game back from a horrible injury, you wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit rusty. And the Bengals' run defense, frankly, has got a lot better since BJ Hill came back into the lineup. So I do think the Bengals should be the favourite, and they rightly are, but 5.5-point favourites on the road, I definitely would not be taking them in that one.
Yeah, it's on the road, isn't it? If this was at home, I'd be like, 5.5, quite fancy that. But on the road, it's tricky.
Because then I wouldn't be taking the Bengals -8.5 at home. So
true.
Or more, like that. It seems too big.
Yeah, it seems too big. Yeah, I understand that the logic's clear, isn't it? Sean Watson's absolutely terrible, and they've just traded Amari Cooper to the Buffalo Bills. So weapons wise, they're depleted. But yeah, a couple of turnovers from the defense or a good special teams play and a good running game, then it just makes the game a lot closer than you like it to be. But if I had to pick either way, I would pick the Bengals. But I don't have to bet on every game, so I would just stay away when it comes to
Myles Garrett against Demarius Mims, Bengals right tackle. He's been really good since he's come in. He only allowed one pressure last week, and against the Giants, who are leading the lead in sacks. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Because for me, Myles Garrett is arguably the best player in any position in the league. He's dominant at what he does, and he's just phenomenal, a phenomenon. So every time I have to watch him going up against the Bengals is horrible, and I think that'll be a nice matchup for the rookie right tackle, and that'll be probably the key to the game, frankly, that one.
Yeah, and this one's a 6:00 game, so you'll get to watch it early and see if your team do the business or not early on Sunday. I know we talk about props and stuff at the end, but whilst we're talking about this game, I'll be looking at T. Higgins props. He's out targeted and out receptioned Jamar Chase, I think, every week in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He's running routes on nearly every single passing down as well. They barely take him off the field. They don't take Chase off the field much either, but they take him off a little bit more on kind of run plays as well. And I just think T. Higgins seems to be a really big focal point of the offense. So, I'll be going overs on T. Higgins against the Browns.
His reception line was 4.5 on Monday. He got 7. As I said, with him, it seems to be quick slants. There's a good. They seem to be going for him for anything they need, 8 to 10 yards. They go for T. Higgins because his hands are so strong. He's just dominating cornerbacks. Chase, I believe I saw someone on Twitter. Dynasty Island, is it? It's Tom Strachan's mate, Rich. He posted saying that Chase is down at 18% receptions per route run, and he's normally above 20. So he's expecting that to correct itself. I did argue back saying, why bother throwing it to Chase when you got T. Higgins with the easier coverage? So I agree with you. I think they'll keep on going to T if he's got the easier coverage, and Chase, we know, can take it to the house from anywhere. I think he has more long touchdowns than anyone in the league over the last couple of years. So he's the explosion, and T. Higgins is the chain mover essentially.
Yeah, and his line has creeped up. So you said it's 4.5. It is 5.5.
Yeah.
But it's 6 to 5. So you're not getting that 10 to 11. You're getting 6 to 5. Absolutely. So you're getting a bit of juice to bet. Yeah, to bet over. And his yardage is a little bit more difficult because, again, he is the chain mover. But 64.5, 5 to 6, either way, I'd still probably lean over, to be honest.
Right, to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, so just another angle for that game. Onto your best spread, but it's also my best spread. Who have we picked? I'll let you announce it.
We think the Lions are going to kill the Vikings this week. So I was very happy to see the Lions plus points. They were 2.5. They're now down to 1.5. So that's what we've gone with for the pick. I don't think the Vikings have faced anyone like the Lions this year, and the Lions, obviously, they're buzzing after destroying the Cowboys last week. Admittedly, the Vikings have a very good defense, but they do. And to be fair, and the Vikings are actually quite strong against the run defense, but they've not faced David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. They've not faced the defensive line. So yeah, for me, I just think the Lions are going to kind of put them back in their place a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was actually surprised to see it at this, but I understand, they are 5-0, aren't they? Or they 6-0? Yeah, 5-0. And they played really well on defense, but Sam Darnold didn't look as good in the London game was kind of over targeting Justin Jefferson. It felt like he wasn't going with the flow of the offense. And the Lions' passing defense with Tyron Arnold looks much better than it has before. Like, I know Hutchinson's out now with his broken leg, which is terrible. They're probably going to make a trade, and they haven't made that trade yet. But I think in this game, I just think they're going to be able to run on the Vikings a little bit. Brian Flores is an incredible DC. A lot of that is blitzing, which Jared Goff does struggle with. But I think the Lions are going to run it too much for that to be a big kind of issue. I'm not with you that I think they'll kill them by loads of points, but I think they'll beat them by a touchdown or so and help us win this bet. So yeah, I think Lions +1. And again, there's an argument. People would disagree with me. I'm biased, but the Chiefs and Lions both +1.5 is probably maybe the favourites to meet in the Super Bowl if you look at who's playing the best, especially the Lions over the 49ers. I just think, it's too good to turn down that Lions bet. I don't think you'll see them underdogs much for the rest of the season. So
no, and if you've got a bookie you can do teasers, then that's probably the teaser bet of the year, isn't it? Chiefs and Lions both up to 7.5.
Yeah, 100%. How many times are you going to get to that this season? It just feels like that's probably your only opportunity. Cool. Were there any other spreads that interest you? Like I said, there was a few 2.5s this week after the last few weeks. So I don't know if there's any others that kind of you're fancying.
Yeah, I thought the Eagles -3 at the Giants was a little bit disrespectful to the Eagles. Andrew Thomas is out for the Giants now at left tackle, and he's been very good for them this year. And while the Eagles' offensive line isn't that great anymore, the Giants will be able to get home. But they looked really good with AJ Brown and Devonta Smith back last week, so I thought that was a good one. Texans +2.5 against Packers will be interesting as well. Obviously, the Texans have played relatively well this year, and with Joe Mixon back, definitely helped. So I think there's two that I might be adding in places.
Yeah, I found that Texans-Packers one so interesting because at face value, you're kind of shocked. But when you look at the numbers, the Texans have, won games they maybe shouldn't have. They're kind of one of those teams, a little bit like the Chiefs, I guess, win those kind of coin toss games. They're not really outplaying teams as much as you think. But I think +2.5, it's probably a good shout with how Jordan Love's been a bit up and down since he come back. He played well last week, but he's been a bit up and down since he come back. So I think that's a good shout. The one that I really liked is the Jets -1.5 against the Steelers because I hate Russell Wilson, which is harsh, but I can't believe they're starting him over Justin Fields. And I think even if you don't like the Jets are very up and down. If there's a week where Devonta Adams is going to get 100 yards and a touchdown, and there's a week where Russell Wilson's going to throw like 2 awful picks, I think it's this week. So I think 1.5 is a good bet for me. I don't like really betting on suggesting the Sunday night game, but I think it's a good bet.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm not sure I can possibly take the Jets as favourites on the road against anyone. At the very least, against a very good defense. Is Aaron Rodgers the way he's been playing? I couldn't take him as favourite against anyone, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, true. So you got that vendetta against him as well, which you got to hold on to.
Of course. Yeah,
I do need. I've got the love for Justin Fields, Ohio State, that I'm just hanging on to. That's my issue. So
it will definitely be interesting to see how Russell Wilson does because while Fields he's not been running a pro offense, but he's been running a winning offense. So it is tough.
Yeah, it's very un-Tomlin-y to change someone when they're winning like that. So we'll see how it goes.
Maybe Tomlin's just worried he's a little bit too far ahead of even. And he's like, I can't get 5-3. Need to drop it back down.
Yeah, I can't get to 9 wins too quick. I've got to get there right at the end.
Need to do it last game of the season against the Bengals.
Yeah, that's the only way it works. I'm not suggesting this, but I looked at Jags -5.5 and thought, Liam, stop picking the Jags every week. So I'm not suggesting them, but the Patriots are terrible. So, but maybe the Jags are terrible as well. But there we go. Cool. Let's move on from spreads then and go on to totals. I found the totals much harder this week than I did looking at the spreads. I don't know if we've said that a lot of the weeks, but whether that's because the trend of the over coming back in play now, I'm not quite sure. But I found the totals a little bit more difficult. In terms of Tim, he's gone for under 38 in the game tonight, which is the Broncos versus the Saints, which a fellow full 10-yarder Dave is going to be at with no wide receivers for his team. He's going to be watching. I don't know if Taysom Hill's even playing, but Taysom Hill's going to get about 18 targets if he is healthy.
He's not. No, it's Bob Mean, Cedric Wilson, and other stars that you might have heard somewhere down the road. And to make it even worse, Spencer Rattler's throwing the ball to them. So yeah, not quite the game he was expecting when he booked this one.
Well, I love Spencer Rattler, so I think that's a pro on Derek Carr. But yeah, I'm not quite sure about Spencer Rattler to Juwan Johnson and Fabian Moreau for 3 hours. But let's hope he has fun.
Moreau.
Oh yeah, that's it. Who's Fabian Moreau?
He's former Commanders. I think he's defensive.
Ah, there we go. But yeah, anyway, back to the point. Tim's gone for under 38, which again, all the injuries for the Saints. And Bo Nix definitely not running a pro-style offense going back to Justin Fields. I think it's a pretty good shout. I don't really like betting under anything with a 3 unless there's terrible weather. But I can completely see why Tim's done this. Yeah, the Saints are decimated with injuries. The Broncos' defense is really good. The offense has put up points in some games, but they have been games where there's been huge amounts of turnovers. So if Rattler can just not turn the ball over horrifically, then I'm not. Yeah, I think Tim's right that it's probably going to be under 38. Did you have any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, you're probably worth looking at first half unders. I think from what I remember earlier in the week, again, Tom Strachan, on Twitter, he posted, and I think Bo Nix hasn't thrown a touchdown in the first half this year. So yeah, if you're looking at the unders on this one, probably worth targeting the first half and expecting a close start from them.
Well, he's had a first half with minus passing yards and a first half with 18 passing yards this season. So
the Jets game, wasn't it? It was -7 or something.
Yeah, so it is hard to score points when you can't even get a first down. To be fair.
0 first half TDs, 5 second half. Sorry, touchdowns. So yeah, it's been rough for Def fans, but hey, they've been winning games.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, if this was 40.5, I think I would have tipped it up. 38 is a bit low for me, but I think Tim's definitely on the right side when it comes to under in that game. In terms of my pick, then, like I said, I found it difficult. I've gone for over 40.5 in the Bills-Titans games. Will Levis could throw 14 points to the Bills, which is definitely an argument. But I kind of go back to the thing we say on this pod all the time. Obviously, I think the Bills are very good in general, but they're very good against bad teams. They always score 30-plus points against terrible teams. I think they probably score 30 points in this game, and then I've only got to get 11 from the Titans, which I think I can get. I think Will Levis can chuck me one bomb and 2 picks that give me some points in this game. So yeah, I on my spreadsheet, I had the total at 44.5, and the 4-point gap was the biggest difference on my numbers. So yeah, I've gone for the over in this game, but I do think the Bills are going to be doing the majority of the heavy lifting when it comes to my points. But yeah, the Titans have got some good offensive players, and I think Will Levis is what he is. He's boom bust. He will have 3 or 4 good plays. That's just who he is. But then he'll have 10 horrific plays. So yeah, any thoughts on that one?
Yeah. As you said, it's quite a low total, and when you're only needing one team to score 14 at most, then you should be all right for it. The Titans do have a decent pass defense, and the Bills, that's where they're trying to lean to. But the Bills have been very good running the ball this year, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they get the job done there. Fair play to Tony Pollard. I think he's actually done quite a decent job for the Titans, because I don't rate him that much as an RB1, but he has looked pretty good this year. So yeah, if they can get Levis to restrict the drive killing in mistakes, then maybe they'll be all right. Maybe they'll go away from. Maybe they'll go with Mason Rudolph, isn't it? So,
yeah, I have to be honest. I would be less confident if after one quarter it's 14-0 and they go, "Will Levis is out and Mason Rudolph's in." I'll be less confident. I think Titans fans would be more confident, but I would be less confident, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, that might make the under, because he might be able to control the drives a little bit better than Levis does. But yeah, as you said, if the Titans only need 14 points at most, then you're probably onto a winner on that one.
Yeah, definitely. And we could get another meme of Will Levis doing something stupid, which is always fun. Always fun.
And of course, Amari Cooper's debut as well. So that could help the Bills' offense put a few more points.
Yeah, true. Definitely. Cool. What's the total you've gone for?
Yeah, I've gone with a high one. Ravens Bucks over 49.5. I think this could be like the Bengals Ravens game. Don't bother with the wrong game. Just pass on the Ravens and put up the points. And the Bucks have been doing that all year. Obviously, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Even Cade Austin got a touchdown this week. They've looked good passing the ball. They've not looked quite as good on the ground, although Bucky Irving and obviously Sean Tucker put up a huge game this week in a blowout. I don't expect that against the Ravens, who've allowed the fewest rush yards this year. But we know the Ravens are going to put up probably 30, 40 points, and it'll be up to the Bucks to score 25, which I wouldn't be surprised in a pass funnel defense. So it should be a fun game to watch. It should be a nice back and forth on that one because Baker's going to go for it. I mean, Baker threw I think 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions this week. It was a fairly crazy game from a stat point of view, and I wouldn't be surprised to see similar in this one.
Yeah, and this is the Monday night game, isn't it? But it's a slightly earlier one, even though it's still...
Yeah, another 2 bloody Monday night games. It's another double header on a Monday, which is a killer.
I know. And it'd be worse for us over here, but I just don't understand why they're not back-to-back. Why you don't bring the first one forward half an hour and put the next one back. And at the same time, doesn't make any sense for me. I think we've moaned about this like 3 weeks. So, but it doesn't make any...
I'm sure people over there must be. It's 45 minutes difference in starting times. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, that should be a fun game. I think Mike Williams had a slight knock today, but they said it's precautionary and that he'll play. They just held him out of practice. So yeah, I quite like that over. I think that game could be one of the best games of the weekend if you're someone who likes offense, because I just think it could be very back and forth again. Cool. Well, any other totals you like? Like I said, I did find it hard with the totals this week, and I don't want to suggest over and Steelers Jets 38.5, but I couldn't find many other totals that I personally would actually bet on.
No, the Bengals Browns I'd lean under just because of the probable ineptitude of the Browns offense, but and they played the Bengals well, so under 41.5 would probably be my lean on that one. But yeah, I didn't have a huge man either, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Packers Texans 47.5 was one that intrigued me, but I just couldn't quite get there with how bad Texans run game's been so far. But yeah, that's one that interests me. If it goes down to 46.5, you'd be tempted with the 47 being a key number. But yeah, there wasn't any others that interested me. Cool. Let's move on to touchdowns now. And I'm going to start by giving out Tim's pick because he's on a roll. He's had 3 wins in a row. I could have just kept picking Derrick Henry and I'd have done a better job than I've done. But he's gone for 3 in a row. So he had his Brian Robinson pick, his DJ Moore pick, and his Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's gone for Jahmyr Gibbs from the Lions in the game that we like. Again, I mentioned the run game, I think, being key against the blitz. I think they'll run the ball a lot. Montgomery and him do share carries, but they actually split the red zone carries quite often. If Montgomery gets one drive, very often Gibbs will get the next drive. So yeah, that price is 11-8, which I don't think is too bad. I know Montgomery's shorter, but yeah, I think Tim's shout at 11-8 for Gibbs is a good one. But he's also got 3 in a row, so I'm probably just bowing down to his excellence when it comes to touchdown scorers. Any thoughts on that pick?
Yeah, obviously Monty got a couple last week. Montgomery's now had 10 rushing touchdowns in the last 11 games, in 1 per game essentially. So yeah, he will probably score, but I think Gibbs will probably be finding the end zone as well. As I say, I think the Lions are going to win fairly comfortably in that one, so I wouldn't be surprised. Gibbs has had 4 touchdowns this year, scored in 3 of the 5 games they've played. So yeah, I think I can't argue with it at 11-8.
Yeah, it's good odds as well. Good odds. Who have you gone for your touchdown? Another plus odds one?
Yeah, I've gone with Drake London for the Falcons. He's scored the last couple of weeks as well, and he's getting a huge amount of targets from Kirk Cousins. Who are they even playing? I can't remember who they're playing.
Seahawks.
Yeah, and the Seahawks obviously have been up and down on defense. We'll say they look like they could be quite good, but they also look quite bad at times. It looks like the Falcons are finding their groove a little bit now. I was going to go with Bijan. I think he was 4-5 from what I remember. I think he was just under even. So I went the other side of it. I went for Drake London. I think they're moving the ball well now. And London has become a very good red zone target, which is what I kind of expected at the start of the season. So yeah, I think he's going to be scoring quite a lot of weeks nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. I think the Seahawks defense got worse as the season's gone on, to be honest. Not been great the last couple of weeks. I think, that's why the total's like 51, I think, because they expect this game to be high scoring, I think. So Drake London's a really good shout. I quite actually like Tyler Algier in that game as well. He's played really well. He's actually got a better rushing success rate than Bijan has. And they don't quite spell him as much. It's not a Gibbs Montgomery situation, but they give him enough carries for Tyler Algier to get in the end zone as well. So yeah, I think I'd take Drake London at 6-5 over Bijan at less than evens, to be honest. So it's a good shout. I've gone for the Old Faithful, partly because I'm biased, and other reason is because Adam did think I was picking this for another bet, and he wasted time filling this in on our sheet and on some graphics. So I thought, why not go for it anyway? And that is, of course, Travis Kelce, 6-4 for a touchdown against the 49ers. Kind of obvious reason why the Chiefs haven't got many players that can score touchdowns. He is one of the players, and I think he looks really good the last couple of weeks. They've had to change the offense to back to what it was before. They wanted to rest him till January. Now they're not going to have that opportunity, so he's going to have to be involved a lot. And yeah, they're coming off a bye week, and I just think the red zone woes will probably still be there throughout the season, but there'll be a few wrinkles in this particular game with extra time to prepare. And Kelsey's normally the guy you go to. Worthy will command a lot of targets as well, but I think that'll be outside the red zone. He's not the body type. His red zone touches are going to be on rushes and screens and stuff like that. They're not going to be many pass plays, I don't think, in the red zone for him. And yeah, again, Travis Kelce over evens with the injury situation the Chiefs have got, I think is just a really good bet.
Yeah, can't argue with it. He's going to find the end zone eventually, so I guess we keep backing him every time he's above evens, and he'll probably end up with a couple one of those weeks. I was just looking for a bit of evidence on my one. So Drake London, he's been targeted on 42% of his routes inside the red zone this year. So if they get down there with Bijan plus Algier, then, and if they throw it, it's probably going to Drake London. He's had 33% of the target share. So yeah, I think he's on for a big season this year, and he's one of the reasons I'm 5-1 in one of my key fantasy leagues is Drake London. So yeah, I'm definitely up for him this year. And yeah, as you said, the only worry about Kelce is obviously it just doesn't seem to have been clicking this year. And coming off a bye week, I assume he's been all over the world with his misses, so he might just be a little bit off his game because of that. But we'll see.
Yeah, he's been in New York with Deadpool and Wolverine. That's the images going around. So we'll see if they've given him any advice on how to get in the end zone and win me a bet. We'll find out. I was trying to look for Kyron Williams odds. Again, I've only looked in two places. They weren't there. But he's one that intrigues me because the amount of touches he's getting per game is absolutely nuts now for the Rams. I think they're playing the Raiders. And again, I know they've got a relatively good defense, but Christian Wilkins is out injured. I don't think the Raiders' offense is very good. So I think the Rams are going to get a lot of time of possession. So I think Kyron Williams is a good one, but I know his odds are going to be terrible.
Yeah, and Cooper Kupp should be back this week as well. You're looking 8-15 on Bet365, the first one I can find.
I think I'd probably go Kyron and pair it with someone like Derrick Henry, who scored a touchdown in every game, something like that, just to boost those odds up. I wouldn't be betting them as singles because the odds are just one injury in the first quarter, and you're like, okay, great, I've just lost all my money on like a 4-8 shot, whatever. Do you know what I mean? That's how Derrick Henry's getting to the point where he's going to be the shortest odds ever to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
But I don't mind
4-9 for Henry.
Yeah, is he 4-9? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
you probably get better odds on Travis Kelce to score one touchdown than Derrick Henry to score two. So
not going to be far off. Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably double up Kyron and a player like Derrick Henry as another one.
Literally 6-4, so same odds.
There we go. Although people listening will probably go with Henry to score two before they go Kelce to score one in some occasions. I know I picked him last week, but I think it was a bit of a weird game for them on offense. But I still do like, if you want to bet on the London game, I still do like Brian Thomas Jr. for a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence did miss him on one last week, and the Patriots defense that I thought would be really good this year. They've been absolutely terrible on defense, so I do quite like that. Again, I don't want to always pick a Jags bet, but I do quite like that bet for the London game. Did you have any other touchdowns?
Well, Drake May starting to be very useful. Obviously, he had an MRI yesterday, but it sounded like it was cautionary. But him starting would be great for any touchdown scores in that game because it'll just make it a lot more of an exciting game, and meaning that players actually need to pass the ball and actually do what they're meant to do. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. To be fair, if Drake May starts over 42.5, it's probably a very good bet. Given what we saw last week, he was moving the offense quite well. And the Jags, while they have been terrible, they dropped 3 or 4 last week, and you can't expect them to do that again this week. You'd think they're going to haul them in this time, and as you say, Brian Thomas was one of those, so it'll be interesting. As for other touchdown scores, I haven't looked around too much. I was just looking at props on Chris Godwin because he seems like he's the T Higgins of them, really. So looking at what you're looking at 6.5, it's a high one, but again, it's a pass funnel defense, the Ravens. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's around there. Other than that, not a huge amount from me, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I quite like Zay Flowers as well. He's lined 59.5 in that game, and he's looking really, really good this season. He seems to only have one good half, but he covers his line quite often in the one good half.
It was 109 yards in the first half, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah, Ravens record, which is wild. But I think this game will be back and forth as well, so I don't think you'll see as much running from the Ravens in the second half as you would in some games. So, I quite like Zay Flowers at 59.5 as well in that game.
And Jameson Williams' longest reception is a solid one every week, 21.5 yards, and he's gone over that in 4 out of 5 games. If he catches one, it's normally going to be over 22.
Yeah, the Vikings got quite a lot of old cornerbacks as well, so I'm not sure his speed is going to be what they want to see streaking down the field. So I think that's a good shout. Cool. Any other bets, or is that you done?
I am done for the week. Thank you.
Nice. Cool. Let me get my. I've lost the summary for people that are watching. There we go.
No.
The other one. There we go. So best bets for the week. In terms of spread, Tim's gone for the Bengals -5.5. I've gone for me and Adam both gone for the Lions +1.5. In terms of total, Tim's gone under the Thursday night game between Denver Broncos and the Saints, under 38. I've gone for over 40.5 in the Bills and Titans game. And Adam's gone for the over 47.5 in the Monday Night Football Baltimore versus Tampa Bay game. And then for touchdown scorers, Tim's gone for Gibbs at 11-8. I've gone for Travis Kelce 6-4. And then Adam has gone for Drake London 6-5 from Big Kirk Cousins to catch a touchdown. So there we go. That's all of our best bets for the week. Please follow us as well at F10Y on Twitter/X. Please follow Adam as well at Touchdown Tips. I'm sure if anyone gets injured in the next 48 hours and there's a random running back with 14-1 odds that Adam can win money on, he'll tweet it out, I'm sure, after he's bet on it.
I got 8-1 on Kamani Vidal last week, so yeah, it was nice to have a big winner for once.
Yeah, there we go. Adam's your man for finding those higher odds ones. So go follow him over on Twitter as well. We'll be back for week 8, and please remember to gamble responsibly. And hopefully we'll be back after Travis Kelce scores more touchdowns than Derrick Henry. We will see.